get started. Hi, Jan, in the chat. Nice to hear from you. Hello, Liz. Hello, everyone putting into the chat. It's lovely to hear from you all. So my name is Leah Higgins, and I am the digital assistant here at CILIPS Scotland, and I'm joined by both my colleagues, Director Sean McNamara, and let me get this right, Sector Engagement Manager Kirsten McQuarrie. We've all just had new job titles, so it's taken a wee bit of adjustment just to make sure I get it right when I'm introducing everyone. So yes, so my two colleagues, Kirsten and Sean, are joining me today. I have slides, so, and also just to mention that this session is being recorded. So, again, welcome to keep your cameras on or off. Captions, you're able to toggle on and or off down at the bottom as well. So it's so lovely to see everyone saying hello in the chat. I'm just going to get right into my slides. I'm going to share my screen. Cool. Can everyone see that?
Perfect. Thanks, Leah. Oh, what is going on?
See that? The fireworks. I don't know how I did that.
Oh, but that's
maybe
good.
I don't know if it's the. I don't know how I've turned that on, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Oh, don't ever turn it off. That's spectacular. Cool. See, we're all learning new things tonight, everyone. We're all newbies and different.
All newbies in our own way, exactly.
To sum up, we can see your slides, Leah, which is what I came on to say.
I know. Thank you. Right, okay. So welcome everyone to Newbie Networking. This is the second year in a row that we've been running this. And really, we kind of visualize this as an opportunity for everyone to kind of meet a few friendly faces just before they join the conference that is happening in less than a week's time, which is really exciting. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We'll also have an opportunity after the presentation, which probably lasts about 15-20 minutes, just to for anyone to ask their questions directly to us, and we can have a little chat. We can go around the room and introduce ourselves if you feel comfortable to do so. It's just a nice opportunity to see a few friendly faces beforehand. Oh, can't get my slide to move on. There we go. Oh, see, this is what it does. There we go. Sorry, I'm so bad at presenting on Zoom. I can never end up seeing what you guys can see. So we've got the bar at the top. Anyway, so I figured out last year that the best way to kind of give everyone a good indication of what happens through the day is to do basically just that, and to run you through what happens throughout day one. And it's essentially just a carbon copy of what happens on day two as well. So at around about 9:15, it's probably when you're wanting to arrive at the conference venue, which is the Dundee Apex Hotel. The hotel is a short walk from Dundee railway station, which I imagine most people will probably be using the train to get there. But if you are traveling by car, it's worth saying that the hotel does have a lot of parking on its grounds. And when you come in, once you've kind of said hello to everyone and all that sort of thing, you can make your way to the hotel reception and you can let them know that you've parked. And that means that you won't get fined and you don't have to pay for parking, but just make sure to do that. But if there's any issues with that, just speak to one of us and we'll be able to help you out with that. Also, just a note to say that if you're staying overnight and you have any bags or luggage with you, you can store the bags at reception. If you've got a room booked, it probably won't be ready until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So it means that you don't have to kind of carry it about with you, and you know that it's safe kind of locked away in that room, and the hotel staff will be able to kind of look after it for you. Registration for the event kind of officially formally opens at about 9:30 a.m. and I've got a nice little picture here of all of our volunteers, from some from last year and some faces that you'll see again this year. So we have Kirsten, who you've already met. We have Manisha. If you see her, don't ask her any questions, because I don't know if she's coming this year, but she won't be working this year. So she was our student placement last year, but we do have another one joining us, Shona, who I'm sure you'll probably meet at the time. We have Sean, we have myself. Same goes for Richard. He was last year's president. So if you see him wandering about, he probably won't be able to answer many questions because he's not working. And then we have our wonderful volunteers. We have Alison, Margaret, and Audrey. And we also have Keith joining us, who I have not met yet. He wasn't there last year. And it's also worth saying that last year was my first CILIPS conference and one of my first conferences at all. So this kind of event was formulated really as a way for me to kind of share my anxieties and my apprehensions about kind of coming to an event like this. So if you're nervous, that's totally fine. Hopefully this event will kind of give you a bit of a head start on a lot of the information. So these people are all incredibly lovely and will be really there to support your visit and to make sure that you're making the most of everything. So you see them here at the registration desk. You can enter the hotel, I believe, 2 ways. So there's a door that is behind Kirsten here. It's a kind of big glass entrance. And you'll essentially be able to see the registration table just as soon as you walk in, or you'll be kind of entering from where Audrey is over here, and that's where you go past the hotel reception, and that's kind of the car park entrance. So you will be able to go up to the registration desk, you'll speak to one of these lovely people and tell them your name. They'll give you your delegate badge, they'll attach it to a lanyard. It's also worth saying that there will be some posters here with the QR code for the programme and things like that, and a few other competitions and things that she'll speak more about in a wee bit. But yeah, so you'll get your delegate swag bag and you'll get your name tag. Those are really the 2 main things that you'll need for kind of throughout the conference. So upon arrival, it's probably a really good idea to download the conference program. So as I said, you can do that through the QR codes, or you can also do that by going onto the CILIPS website, typing in CILIPS. If you're doing it on your mobile device, I would recommend typing in CILIPS 24. The main page will come up and it's one of the first links on the main page. 9th, again, this kind of time or just around about registration is a good time to come and find the Newbie Networking zone, which will be located either just to the left or to the right of the registration desk. I will probably be there unless I'm flapping about doing something else at the very last minute. And as I said, our student placement from this year, Shona, will also be there helping me out, and you will be able to get a very special Newbie Networking badge, which I will show you in a little bit. This is also a really good opportunity to scope out where each of the rooms are for each of the parallel sessions. And just to note that this is the kind of main conference room where all the keynotes and the kind of larger parallel sessions will be taking place. This is the second largest room, which is the art gallery. And then we have the smallest room, which is the Melbourne room. Both the Melbourne room and the art gallery are upstairs on the mezzanine. So it's like not officially the first floor, but it's the mezzanine that kind of overlooks the area where the registration desk is. And luckily I had the bright idea to make a reel of it last time, because people sometimes do get lost, which, by the way, it's absolutely okay if you get lost. I think I got lost multiple times and people kept coming and asking me for directions because I was working last year and I had no clue. I was like, we'll find it together, which is very much the energy that a lot of delegates will have, because a lot of delegates have been coming to this venue for years. So pretty much everyone's kind of happy to help. So you'll see this sign, it says CILIPS Syndicate Rooms on level M for mezzanine. This door is located directly across from the hotel registration. It's also beside the kind of entrance to the spa, and it sits just behind the registration desk, kind of further along the wall. There's also lifts / elevators up to the mezzanine level, but sometimes, especially moving in between parallel sessions, they can be quite busy. So if you're able to use the stairs, then I would probably recommend it. So you'll be able to go through this little hallway. This is where there are different types of toilets, which you can use throughout the day. You'll find yourself going up one flight of stairs, which is technically the 2, and you'll get to a door marked M, which overlooks the car park. You'll be able to walk just along this little hallway, and then on directly to your right, you'll find the art gallery, which you can see here. This is also just our kind of our chill zone, really. So if you're finding yourself a bit overwhelmed, or you just want to take a little break, have a seat, you need to answer a few emails, doesn't really matter when, this space is all kind of reserved for us. So it means that you're able to sit and just kind of take a wee breather if you need that. Again, for this little bit as well. And then this is, as I say, the mezzanine that overlooks the main reception. And then you'll find the Melbourne room, which is the smallest. And then just along here in this door, there's the Barcelona room, which also I believe we have access to. And that's like a proper quiet zone if you really need, a room to decompress, or if you have any kind of sensory issues or anything like that, there is a room available for you to go and sit in. So hopefully that's not boring hearing in very in depth how to get to rooms, but I promise you it will be worth listening to me talk about it. This is the City Suite in action. You'll be able to see there's a kind of projector. So if you're short-sighted like me, I would recommend you bring in your glasses, which sometimes I forget to do. You'll be able to see that all of the volunteers and my colleagues and I will be wearing these CILIPS happy to help badges, and that's really the best way to identify people that will know all the information that you might need. This was the wonderful Conference Newbies badges I was talking about. So if you come and identify yourself to us, then you can get one of these and come and say hello to the team. It would be really nice to meet you all. And then more on this Green Champions badge in a little minute. Again, another shout out to the conference program. It really is the kind of one-stop shop for everything that you need to know about the conference. I'll share these slides afterwards as well, so you'll have access to the QR code, and this is a little hyperlink as well, just in case you're having any trouble finding it. So we get to the beginning of the conference. As I say, the welcome speech, the keynotes, everything will be in the City Suite, all the kind of bigger events. And then throughout both days, we'll have little breaks throughout for you to have a look at the exhibitor suite. The exhibitor suite sits directly, the room kind of behind the City Suite. Unfortunately, don't have a picture of that, which mental note I'll need to take this year so that I have for next year's Newbie Networking. But you'll be able to find it really easily once everyone gets up. Once the keynote has finished, just follow the big crowd and you will eventually end up in the exhibitor suite, and that's where there will be like refreshments like apple juice and coffee and things like that as well. And then we have parallel session 1, parallel session 2. Also, just to note that there is a 5-minute transfer time built into the timetable for transfer in between sessions, which is really helpful, especially if you're trying to make it from the City Suite all the way up to the Melbourne or the Art Gallery. It's just a really handy little 5 minutes to have, but there's absolutely no harm in coming in late to a session, as long as you do it kind of respectfully and quietly. No one will blink an eyelid. Equally as well, if a session's running on, it's, you're able to just kind of sit until the session concludes. But hopefully we shouldn't have too much of that, although, if anyone here has ever organised anything, you know that everything always runs on. So just a note to say that it's totally fine to come in and out of sessions as and when you need to. Again, this is another screenshot from a programme. It shows you all the networking opportunities that we have available. So we have Suffragette Snap, which I'll speak about in a wee second. We have our interactive map. So you'll see here on the conference programme, we have this little blue line here is a hyperlink to this map, which this is an actual screenshot from it. And we've got someone from Denmark. I think that's one of the exhibitors. I don't know if that's just where their HQ is or whether they're actually coming from Denmark, but it's quite cool that the map has went international. It's not only just Scotland, but we'd really love it if you could contribute and let us know where you're joining us from. Please don't put in your home address or anything like that, but if you could put in what service you're joining us from, or even just generally a kind of landmark in the city or anything like that, it would just be great to see the kind of breadth of where everyone's joining us from for this year's conference. So next we're going to talk about the Green Champions. You are encouraged, if you can, to bring either a reusable cup or a reusable water bottle. There'll be stations to fill these up at the various breaks. So in a kind of ode to sustainability, it would be really great if you could bring these things with you. And if you do, and if you show one of the volunteers or staff, you can then scan this QR code and you'll be entered into a prize draw to win a Costa Coffee gift card, which is a really great prize, especially if you're someone like me that religiously drinks coffee. So that's really exciting. We've got a few various competitions and things like that throughout going on. It's just a bit of fun, really, and it kind of it makes it fun, really, which I think we're all about at Team CILIPS. And then also just another nod to sustainability. Kirsten, who is the Green Libraries Network moderator, has written up a blurb all about how we've made the conference more sustainable, what kind of steps we've taken from last year and the years before to make the conference as sustainable as it can be. We also have notes about some of the exhibitors that will be joining us, like Paper Boats, who are really big on climate action and climate justice, and who are also represented by our final keynote of the conference, who is Scots McCarr, Kathleen Jamie. It's a mouthful. So it would be really great if you could take a wee read of this and go and kind of have a chat to these exhibitors, because they're doing some great work and they're just really generally interesting to hear about. Equally, we have other exciting things in the swag bags, like our seed packets and things like that. And I think this blurb explains a lot about that. And equally, if you're interested in green libraries beyond the conference, then there's ways that you can get involved. And I'm sure Kirsten will be happy to speak more about that if there's any questions after the presentation. Again, just another run through of what the programme looks like. It's really a good idea just to keep the tab open on your phone at all times. We've got a little blurb from each of our sponsors and exhibitors. Again, we have all of our networking opportunities, the little green blurb, and we also have some exclusive deals and things like that if you're out and about and exploring Dundee at any point. And also a shout out, I run all of our social channels and things like that. And also we've just launched, I say just launched, the end of last year we launched our podcast as well. So there's hyperlinks to all of these links just at the bottom of the programme if you fancy following us for any updates and news and things like that. The final two things to mention just in terms of networking is we run an exhibitor competition every year. Last year we had notebooks, this year we have bookmarks. So in your swag bag, you will find one of two designs. Each of the designs are blank on the back, and it would be really great if you could go around the exhibitors in the exhibitor suite, get one exhibitor from each booth to sign the back of your bookmark. Once they've done that, you can come and show one of the team, and we will give you a little slip that you can fill out with your name and email address. We'll put these all into a hat or some sort of vessel of some sort. A name will be picked and the winner will win a Chromebook. So again, it's just a really easy way to go up and start speaking to exhibitors. Can you sign my bookmark? Can you tell me more about why you're here or what product you're representing? And it's just a really easy kind of icebreaker to use. I always find it quite intimidating going and speaking to exhibitors at these sort of things, especially when you're not really too sure what to say. So I always find that this is a really kind of easy way to go and start that conversation. And finally, we have our suffragette snap, which we've called it this year. Essentially, it's a pretty similar thing. You'll have one of these suffragette top trump cards made by a group called Protests and Suffragettes, sorry. And you can scan the QR code on the back of some of the cards, I believe, to be taken to their website. They're a really cool group doing a lot about women's history and the history of the suffragettes and women in protest. So you can scan the back of the QR code to find that. But equally, we would like you to take note of who it is that you've been given in your top trump card, and then it's your job to find your match. And when you find your match, correct me if I'm wrong here, team, but you will be able to let us know, or if you take a photo with each other and you tag us in it on social media, you can win something. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know if we've committed to that yet, but you will win something if you do that. It's, again, a really fun way to meet fellow delegates. I found that really helpful last year. Who have you got? Your suffragette card, and then you'd start chatting. Where do you work? What's your name? The conversation just flows a lot easier when you've got that little card in your hand to kind of start off with. So then we have lunch. Lunch lasts for about an hour, and then parallel session 3 starts at 2:10 p.m. So I would recommend probably at around about 2 o'clock, 2:05, you would want to kind of start making your move to your next session, whether that's upstairs in the mezzanine or in the city suite. And then the rest of the breaks and keynotes and parallels will basically just follow on from there. The closing remarks will happen if we're on schedule, at around 4:15. So if you're running to make a train or anything like that, we don't really anticipate the conference running past 4:30, if that's helpful for anyone in terms of travel arrangements. Rooms, as I said, will become available if you've booked a room from about 2:30 p.m. onwards. And if you're joining us for the drinks reception and awards dinner, that starts at about 7 p.m. And that also takes place in the kind of large city suite, which will be transformed into a dinner setting. If you are joining us for this, it's just a few things to note: that seating isn't arranged for the dinner. You can feel free to sit wherever you want, whether you want to sit with people that you've met on the day or sit with someone new. There won't be a head table or anything like that, so you're absolutely free to sit wherever. The dress code isn't strict, but we generally say that smart casual is a good way to go. You'll also get to see the award of Scotland's Library and Information Professional of the Year 2024, which is very exciting and I think is the highlight for a lot of people. You can read about our nominees on the website under Slippy on the CILIPS Scotland website. There will also be a performance from Kevin P. Dundee, who is a performer, and I think Sean has seen him at a different kind of event and said that he was fantastic. So I think we're all really looking forward to that. And generally just the awards dinner, don't take it too seriously. It's just an opportunity to network and enjoy some light entertainment after what will have been a really very packed day. And then generally it's just rest and repeat for day 2. If you're joining us for both days or one or the other, it's pretty much the same. The timings might be slightly different, but generally what will happen throughout the day will be the same. All the facts will be the same. Newbie Networking will still be there. Registration desk will still be in the same place. So there's nothing really to say other than that. If you are joining us, then please, if you could tag us either on Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, we also have. If you're posting anything, we'd love to get your kind of reflections and things like that on Twitter and be able to repost. We don't, as a small team, we don't always have the opportunity to be putting out our own tweets. So if other people are doing it, then and we can reshare it, it's always really fantastic. And also, after the fact, you will receive a post-conference survey, which really helps us to be able to make it kind of bigger and better every year. We really value your kind of honest reflections and feedback. If you have any questions or concerns after this, we have the admin email address here, but equally you can just, you'll have gotten an email from me anyway before the event, so you feel free to reply to that and I can answer any questions. I'll also put my email in the chat as well. So now there's just any questions that anyone might have. I see that there's 21 unread messages in the chat, so that's always a good sign.
They're mostly from us, so don't worry. There's not
mostly from
all that 21 questions to answer.
What have you guys got to ask? You guys know more than me. Yeah, so this is just an opportunity for anyone to ask any questions if they have any, or I'm also happy to be told if I've gone over everything.
Firstly, just thank you, Leah, so much. I mean, as Sean says, having been for a few years, I still learn something new every time you give us this tour. It's so accurate, it's so reassuring, and I'm sure that is the case for the new delegates as well. I'm actually going to pop the recording off just so that people feel comfortable asking any questions and everything. But can we just, before we do it, can we give a huge round of applause? Fireworks, they're not working for me, but imagine fireworks around my head. That was incredible, Leah. We so appreciate it. And yeah, we'll look out for you taking even more photos and fantastic reels for newbies next year. But I'm going to pop the recording off.